Action. Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. We are continuing from Wednesday. Let's get right into it.
So if we are recreating the past day after day, thinking the same thoughts and feeling the same emotions, we are broadcasting the same electromagnetic field over and over again, sending out the same message. From the perspective of energy and information, this means the same energy of our past continues to carry the same information, which then keeps creating the same future. Our energy then is essentially equal to our past. The only way we can change our lives is to change our energy, to change the electromagnetic field we are constantly broadcasting. In other words, to change our state of being, we have to change how we think and how we feel. If where you place your attention is where you place your energy, a key concept you'll read more about later in this chapter, then the moment you place your attention on a familiar emotion, your attention and your energy are in the past. If those familiar emotions are connected to a memory of some past event involving a person or an object at a particular place and time, then your attention and your energy are in the past as well. As a consequence, you are siphoning your energy out of the present moment into your past. By the same means, if you start to think about all the people you have to see, the things you have to do, and the places you have to go at certain times in your routine day, you are siphoning your attention and energy into a predictable, known future. Take a look at figure 2.3, which illustrates this point. All of your energy is now completely commingled with those known experiences in that specific line of time. Your energy is creating more of the same, and your body is going to follow your mind to the same events in your same reality. Your energy is being directed out of the present moment and into the past and the future. As a result, you have very little energy left to create an unknown experience in a new timeline. Figure 2.3 also shows how the electromagnetic energy you emanate is a vibrational match with everything known to you. So as you start your day, when you have the thought of the toilet, the next thing you know, there you are, walking toward the toilet. Then you have the thought of the shower, and you find yourself in the shower adjusting the water temperature. You have the thought of the coffee maker, and you're projecting your attention and energy to the coffee maker. And as you automatically walk to the kitchen to make your morning cup of java, once again your body is following your mind. And if you've done that for the last 22 years, your body is going to effortlessly coast right over there. Your body is always following your mind, but in this case, it's been repeatedly following your mind to the known. That's because that's where your attention, and therefore your energy, is. So now let me ask you this. Could it ever be possible for your body to start following your mind to the unknown? If so, you can see that you would have to change where you put your attention, and that would lead to changing your energy, which would require you to change how you think and how you feel long enough for something new to happen. While it may sound incredible, this is indeed possible. It makes sense that just as your body has been following your mind to every known experience in your life, like the coffee maker each morning, if you were to start investing your attention and energy into the unknown, your body would then be able to follow your mind into the unknown, a new experience in your future. Priming your mind and body for a new future. If you are familiar with my work, you know that I'm in love with the concept of mental rehearsal. I'm fascinated by how we can change the brain as well as the body by thought alone. Think about that for a moment. If you focus your attention on specific imagery in your mind and become very present with a sequence of repeated thoughts and feelings, your brain and body will not know the difference between what is occurring in the outer world and what is happening in your inner world. So when you are fully engaged and focused, the inner world of imagination will appear as an outer world experience, and your biology will change accordingly. That means you can make your brain and body look as if a physical experience has already happened without having the actual experience. What you put your attention on and mentally rehearse over and over again not only becomes who you are from a biological perspective, it also determines your future. Here's a good example. A team of Harvard researchers took a group of volunteers who had never before played the piano and divided the group in half. One half practiced a simple 5-finger piano exercise for 2 hours a day over a period of 5 days. The remaining half did the same thing, but just by imagining they were sitting at the piano without physically moving their fingers in any way. The before and after brain scans showed that both groups created a dramatic number of new neural circuits and new neurological programming in the region of their brains that controls finger movements, even though one group did so by thought alone. Think about this. The folks who mentally rehearsed the actions had brains that looked like the experience had already happened, even though they never lifted a finger. If you were to put them in front of a piano after 5 days of mental rehearsal, many of them would be able to play the exercise they imagined pretty well, even though they had never before tickled the ivories. By mentally imagining the activity every day, they installed the neurological hardware in preparation for the experience. They repeatedly fired and wired those brain circuits with their attention and intention. And over time, the hardware became an automatic software program in their brains, and it became easier to do the next time. So if they were to start to play after 5 days of mental practice, their behaviors would become easily aligned with their conscious intentions because they prime their brains for the experience ahead of time. That's how powerful the mind can be once trained. Similar studies show the same kinds of results with muscle training. In a pioneering study at the Cleveland Clinic, 10 research subjects between the ages of 20 and 35 imagined flexing one of their biceps as hard as they could in 5 training sessions a week for 12 weeks. Every other week, the researchers recorded the subjects' electrical brain activity during their sessions and measured their muscle strength. By the end of the study, the subjects had increased their biceps strength by 13.5%, even though they hadn't actually been using their muscles at all. They maintained this gain for 3 months after the training session stopped. More recently, a research team made up of scientists from the University of Texas at San Antonio, the Cleveland Clinic, and the Kessler Foundation Research Center in West Orange, New Jersey, asked subjects to visualize contracting their elbow flexor muscles. As they did so, they were instructed to urge the muscles to flex as strong and hard as possible, adding a firm intention to their strong mental energy for 15-minute sessions, 5 days a week for 12 weeks. One group of subjects was instructed to use what is called external or third-person imagery, imagining themselves performing the exercise by observing themselves in a scene in their head separate from the experience, like watching a movie of themselves. A second group was instructed to use internal or first-person imagery, imagining that their bodies as they existed right then in real time were doing the exercise, making it more immediate and realistic. A third group, the control, did no practice. The group using external imagery, as well as the control group, showed no significant change, but the group using internal imagery showed a 10.8% increase in strength. Another team of researchers from Ohio University went so far as to wrap the wrists of 29 volunteers in surgical casts for 1 month, ensuring they wouldn't be able to move their wrists, even unintentionally. Half the group practiced mental imagery exercises for 11 minutes a day, 5 days a week, imagining they were flexing their immobilized wrist muscles while actually remaining completely still. The other half, the control group, did nothing. At the end of the month, when all the casts came off, the muscles of the imagery group were twice as strong as those of the control group. Each of these 3 muscle studies show how mental rehearsal not only changes the brain, but can also change the body by thought alone. In other words, by practicing the behaviors in their mind and consciously reviewing the activity on a regular basis, the bodies of the subjects looked like they had been physically performing the activity, and yet they never did the exercises. Those who added the emotional component of doing the exercise as hard as possible to the intensity of the mental imagery made the experience even more real and the results more pronounced. In the piano playing study, the brains of the research subjects looked as though the experience they'd imagined had already happened because they had primed their brains for that future. In a similar way, the subjects in the muscle flexing studies changed their bodies to look as if they had previously experienced that reality, just by mentally rehearsing the activity through thought alone. You can see why when you wake up in the morning and start thinking about the people you have to see, the places you have to go, and the things you have to do in your busy schedule, that's mentally rehearsing. And then you add an intense emotion to it, like suffering or unhappiness or frustration, just like the elbow flexor volunteers who urged their muscles to flex without moving them at all. You are conditioning your brain and body to look like that future has already happened. Since experience enriches the brain and creates an emotion that signals the body, when you continuously create an inward experience that is as real as an outer experience, over time, you're going to change your brain and body, just like any real experience would. In fact, when you wake up and start thinking about your day, neurologically, biologically, chemically, and even genetically, which I will explain in the next section, it looks as though that day has already happened for you. And in fact, it has. Once you actually start the day's activities, just as in the experiments above, your body is naturally and automatically going to behave equal to your conscious or unconscious intentions. If you've been doing the same things for years on end, those circuits, as well as the rest of your biology, are more readily and easily activated. That's because not only do you prime your biology every day with your mind, but you also recreate the same physical behaviors in order to reinforce those experiences further in your brain and body. And it actually becomes easier to go unconscious every day because you keep mentally and physically reinforcing the same habits over again, creating the habit of behaving by habit. Making genetic changes. We used to think that genes created disease and that we were at the mercy of our DNA. So if many people in someone's family died of heart disease, we assumed that their chances of also developing heart disease would be pretty high. But we now know through the science of epigenetics that it's not the gene that creates disease, but the environment that programs our genes to create disease. And not just the external environment outside our body, cigarette smoke or pesticides, for example, but also the internal environment within our body, the environment outside our cells. What do I mean by the environment within our body? As I said previously, emotions are chemical feedback, the end products of experiences we have in our external environment. So as we react to a situation in our external environment that produces an emotion, the resulting internal chemistry can signal our genes to either turn on, upregulating or producing an increased expression of the gene, or to turn off, downregulating or producing a decreased expression of the gene. The gene itself doesn't physically change. The expression of the gene changes, and that expression is what matters most because that is what affects our health and our lives. Thus, even though someone may have a genetic predisposition for a particular disease, for example, if their genes continue to express health instead of expressing that disease, they won't develop the condition and will remain healthy. Think of the body as a finely tuned instrument that produces proteins. Every one of our cells, except red blood cells, makes proteins, which are responsible for the body's physical structure and physiological function. For example, muscle cells make specific proteins known as actin and myosin, and skin cells make the proteins collagen and elastin. Immune cells make antibodies, thyroid cells make thyroxine, and bone marrow cells make hemoglobin. Some of our eye cells make keratin, while our pancreatic cells make enzymes like protease, lipase, and amylase. There isn't an organ or a system in the body that does not rely on or produce proteins. They are a vital part of our immune system, digestion, cellular repair, and bone and muscle structure. You name it, they're a part of it. In a very real way, then, the expression of proteins is the expression of life and is equal to the health of the body. In order for a cell to make a protein, a gene must be expressed. That's the job of the genes, to facilitate making proteins. When the signal from the environment outside of the cell reaches the cell membrane, the chemical is accepted by a receptor outside of the cell and makes its way to the DNA inside the cell. Then a gene makes a new protein that's equal to that signal. So if the information coming from outside of the cell does not change, the gene keeps making the same protein and the body stays the same. Over time, the gene will begin to downregulate. It will either shut off its healthy expression of proteins, or it will eventually wear out, like making a copy of a copy of a copy, causing the body to express a different quality of proteins. Different classifications of stimuli upregulate and downregulate genes. We activate experience-dependent genes, for example, by doing new things or learning new information. These genes are responsible for stem cells getting the instructions to differentiate, transforming into whatever type of cell the body needs at that particular time to replace cells that are damaged. We activate behavioral state-dependent genes when we are in high levels of stress or arousal, or in alternate states of awareness, like dreaming. You can think of these genes as the fulcrum of mind-body connection because they provide a link between our thoughts and our bodies, allowing us to influence our physical health through various behaviors, meditation, prayer, or social rituals, for example. When genes are altered in this way, sometimes within minutes, those altered genes can then be passed on to the next generation. So when you change your emotions, you can change the expression of your genes, turning some on and others off, because you are sending a new chemical signal to your DNA, which can then instruct your genes to make different proteins, upregulating or downregulating to make all kinds of new building blocks that can change the structure and function of your body. For example, if your immune system has been subject to living in the emotions of stress for too long and has certain genes activated for inflammation and disease, you can turn on new genes for growth and repair and switch off the old genes responsible for disease. And at the same time, these epigenetically altered genes will begin to follow new instructions, making new proteins and programming the body for growth, repair, and healing. This is how you can successfully recondition your body to a new mind. So as you read earlier in this chapter, this means that if you're living by the same emotions day in and day out, your body believes it's in the same environmental conditions. And those feelings influence you to make the same choices, causing you to demonstrate the same habits that then create the same experiences, that then produce the same emotions all over again. Thanks to these automatic, programmed habits, your cells are constantly being exposed to the same chemical environment, outside your body and your environment, as well as outside the cells, but within your body. That chemistry keeps signaling the same genes in the same way. And so you're stuck because when you stay the same, your genetic expression stays the same. And now you are headed for a genetic destiny because you don't have any new information coming from the environment. But what if the circumstances in your life change for the better? Shouldn't that also change the chemical environment surrounding your cells? Yes, that happens, but not all the time. If you've spent years conditioning your body to this cycle of thinking and feeling, and then feeling and thinking without realizing it, you've also conditioned your body to become addicted to these emotions. So simply changing the external environment by, say, getting a new job doesn't necessarily break the addiction any more than someone addicted to drugs would be able to stop their cravings just by winning a lottery or moving to Hawaii. Because of the thinking, feeling loop, sooner or later, after the novelty of the experience is over, most people return to their baseline emotional state. and the body believes it's in the same old experience that created the same old emotions. So if you were miserable in your old job, but managed to get a new one, you might be happy for a few weeks or even a few months. But if you had spent years conditioning your body to be addicted to misery, you would eventually return to that old emotion because your body would crave its chemical fix. Your outer environment may have changed, but your body will always believe its internal chemistry more than its external conditions. So it remains emotionally locked into your old state of being, still addicted to those old emotions. That's just another way of saying you're still living in the past. And because the internal chemistry hasn't changed, you can't change the expression of your genes to make new proteins in order to improve the structure or the function of your body. So there's no change in your health or your life. That's why I say you have to think greater than the way you feel to make any real, lasting changes. In the winter of 2016, at our advanced workshop in Tacoma, Washington, my team and I performed a study on the effect elevated emotions had on immune function, taking saliva samples from 117 test subjects at the start of the workshop, and then again 4 days later at the workshop's conclusion. We measured immunoglobulin A, IgA, a protein marker for the strength of the immune system. IgA is an incredibly powerful chemical, one of the primary proteins responsible for healthy immune function and the internal defense system. It's constantly fighting a barrage of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and other organisms that invade or are already living within the body's internal environment. It's so powerful that it's better than any flu shot or immune system booster you could possibly take. When it's activated, it's the primary internal defense system in the human body. When stress levels, and therefore the levels of stress hormones like cortisol, go up, this lowers levels of IgA, thereby compromising and downregulating the immune system's expression of the gene that makes this protein. During our 4-day workshop, we asked our study participants to move into an elevated emotional state such as love, joy, inspiration, or gratitude for 9 to 10 minutes, 3 times a day. If we could elevate our emotions, we wondered, could we boost our immune system?
Real ironic.
Our students upregulate the genes for IgA simply by changing their emotional states. The results amazed us. Average IgA levels shot up by 49.5%. The normal range for IgA is from 37 to 87 milligrams per deciliter, mg/dl. But some people measured more than 100 mg/dl at the end of the workshop. Our test subjects showed significant, measurable epigenetic changes without having any significant experiences in their external environment. By attaining states of elevated emotions, even for just a few days, their bodies began to believe that they were in a new environment. So they were able to signal new genes and change their genetic expression. In this case, the protein expression of the immune system. See figure 2.4. This means that you might not need a pharmacy or an exogenous substance to heal you. You have the power from within to upregulate the genes that make IgA within a few days. Something as simple as moving into an elevated state of joy, love, inspiration, or gratitude for 5 to 10 minutes a day can produce significant epigenetic changes in your health and body.
This is a commercial I could say tomorrow on TikTok.
Where attention goes, energy flows. Since where you place your attention is where you place your energy, when you wake up in the morning and immediately start putting your attention and energy on all the people you have to see that day, the places you have to go, the objects you own, and the things you have to do in the three-dimensional world, your energy becomes fractured. All of your creative energy is flowing away from you, as figure 2.5 illustrates, to all things in the outer world that compete for your attention. Your cell phone, your laptop, your bank account, your house, your job, your co-workers, your spouse, your kids, your enemies, your pets, your medical conditions, and so on. Take a glance at figure 2.5. It is obvious that most people's attention and energy are directed to their outer material world. It begs the question, how much energy do you have left in your inner world of thoughts and feelings to create a new reality? Consider for a moment that each of these people or things you give so much attention to is a known in your life because you've experienced it. As I mentioned earlier in the chapter, you have a neurological network in your brain for each one of those things. Since they are mapped in your brain, you perceive and so experience them from your past. And the more you keep experiencing them, the more automatic and enriched the neural circuits for each of them become, because the redundancy of the various experiences keeps assembling and refining more and more circuits. That's what experience does. It enriches the brain. So you have a neurological network about your boss, a neurological network about money, a neurological network about your partner, a neurological network about your kids, a neurological network for your financial situation, a neurological network for your house, and neurological networks about all your physical world possessions, because you've experienced all of those people or things at different times and places. When your attention and therefore your energy is divided between all these outer world objects, people, problems, and issues, there's no energy left for you to put on your inner world of thoughts and feelings. So there's no energy left for you to use to create something new. Why?
Damn.
Because how you think and how you feel literally creates your personal reality. Therefore, if you are thinking and feeling equal to everything that you know, that's the known, you keep reaffirming the same life. In fact, we could say that your personality is no longer creating your personal reality. Now your personal reality is creating your personality. Your external environment is controlling your thoughts and feelings. There's a biological match between your inner world of thoughts and feelings and your outer world, past, present reality made of people and objects at certain times and places. You are continuously keeping your life the same because you are keeping your attention, thoughts, and your energy, feelings, the same. Finally, if how you think and how you feel broadcasts an electromagnetic signature that influences every area of your life, you are broadcasting the same electromagnetic energy and your life never changes. We could say that your energy is equal to everything in your past, present reality, and you are recreating the past. That's not the only limitation that occurs, though. When you place all your attention and energy on the outer world and you keep reacting to the same conditions in the same way, in a state of chronic stress which causes the brain to be in a constant state of arousal, your inner world becomes imbalanced and your brain begins to work inefficiently.
Bars.
Less effective in creating anything at all.
Bro.
In other words, you become a victim of your life instead of the creator of your life.
Bro. Viral TikTok right there.
Living by the hormones of stress. Now let's take a closer look at how we end up getting addicted to our negative emotions, or more precisely, what we call the hormones of stress. The moment we react to any condition in our outer world that tends to be threatening, whether the threat is real or imagined, our body releases stress hormones in order to mobilize enormous amounts of energy in response to that threat. When this occurs, the body moves out of balance. That's exactly what stress is.
Damn.
This is a natural and healthy response because in antiquity, that chemical cocktail of adrenaline and cortisol and similar hormones were released when we were facing some danger in the outer world. Maybe a predator was chasing us, for example, and we had to make a decision to fight, run, or hide. When we are in survival mode, we automatically become materialists, defining reality with our senses by what we can see, hear, smell, feel, and taste. We also narrow our focus and put all of our attention on matter, on our bodies existing in a particular space and time. The hormones of stress cause us to give all of our attention to our outer world because that's where the danger lurks. Back in the days of early humans, of course, this response was a good thing. It was adaptive. It kept us alive. And once we had focused our attention on the cause, and then the danger had passed, the levels of all those stress hormones went back into balance. But in modern times, that's no longer the case. After just one phone call or email from our boss or a family member that elicits a strong emotional reaction such as anger, frustration, fear, anxiety, sadness, guilt, suffering, or shame, we turn on the primitive fight or flight nervous system, causing us to react as if we were being chased by a predator. The same chemistry automatically stays switched on because the external threat never seems to go away. The truth is that many of us spend the majority of our time in this state of heightened arousal. It's become chronic. It's as though the predator is not out there in the wild making an occasional toothy appearance, but is instead living in the same cave as we are. A toxic coworker whose desk is right next to ours, for example. Such a chronic stress response is not adaptive. It's maladaptive. When we're living in survival mode and those hormones of stress like adrenaline and cortisol keep pumping through our body, we stay on high alert instead of returning to balance. As in Anna's experience in Chapter 1, when this imbalance is maintained long-term, chances are we are headed for disease, because long-term stress downregulates the healthy expression of genes. In fact, our bodies become so conditioned to this rush of chemicals that they become addicted to them. Our bodies actually crave them.
We'll stop there. I'm excited to hear everybody's biggest takeaway when it comes to becoming supernatural, man. This book is it's so interesting, bro. And there's so much to unpack from it. And dude, there's a tactic in there that I hope everybody heard, because we have to start implementing it out like right away. And I'm gonna mention it if nobody else does by the end of this conversation. But we'll start off with Caleb DeRoche, man. Yo, did this book club bring value to your life? Is there like actionable items that you took away? Anything that resonates with you that will allow you to progress further?
Yes, actually. So he mentioned it in two parts. Where attention goes, energy flows. He mentioned that when your reality. So hold on, I have it in my note. How you think and how you feel literally creates reality, and then he goes, where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and he talks about practicing gratitude three times a day for 9 to 10 minutes. And after he talks about that, he goes into literally saying what we create on our inner is literally reality. So thoughts are things. So if we are practicing gratitude 3 times a day, if we're feeling those heightened emotions, then we're going to create that into our reality.
Bro, I just want to ask the question, bro. What if us not practicing gratitude 2 times, 3 times a day was the exact reason why we weren't seeing the success we wanted to see out of our lives? I ask myself that question probably 3, 4, 5 times a day, and now we know the tactic. And Caleb, he repeated it, right, dude? It's to practice gratitude 9 to 10 to 12 minutes a day, 3 times a day, bro. This is a prescription from a doctor. Just to let you guys know, you might not have gone to the doctor. You might not have had an appointment to go see a doctor, but listen, there was a prescription that was given to you. There was a prescription that was given to you, and it is for the next fucking, I don't even know, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. Who cares, bro? Dude, there's a prescription that was given to us 3 times a day for 9 to 10 to 12 minutes. We have to practice gratitude, bro. Thank you. Huge. Love it. Appreciate it. Yo, Caleb, let me ask you a question, man. Are you going to do gratitude 3 times a day tomorrow? Or are you gonna
Yes, sir. I got to get one in tonight, too.
Yeah, exactly, man. Hey, I'm going to finish off the day today with 3 times, bro. I'm going to finish off the day today with doing it 3 times, man. Hey, thank you for saying that, man. Appreciate you. Chris Cruz. Yo, man, what did you think, bro? I know you're still new, but is this a good vibe, bro? You like this shit? Are you learning from it?
Is it a good vibe? First of all, y'all can hear me, right? Because I zen out in my car and it's mad rainy right now. Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
All right, dope. So, of course, bro, the vibe here is, I can't even explain it, man. Like, the vibe checks out. That's the only thing you can say about the vibe. Everybody in this room, everybody knows I bang with them. Like, you all are great people, point blank, period. There's nothing more to say. You all are great people with great minds. So, especially with times like this where we can break stuff down and just talk together, man. Like, this is such a dope feeling, and getting different perspectives is amazing. So with that said, rolling into like what I took away, I actually want to reference something that Kelly said. Kelly, either earlier today or another time, had spoke on when we hear certain things, it's like we kind of go into this mode like, oh, okay, we're doing the whole, you change your mindset, the typical run of the mill shit, right? But that's literally not what this was. And I want to make like a super duper strict and meaningful distinction behind someone just saying, oh, you feel better about your day and you do better. We all know that that's not true. You don't just feel better. No. This guy was saying and breaking down the actual science and the frequencies that I really, and every day I come to a different realization when it comes to your mindset, that there's a distinction between just changing your mind blindly because someone on TikTok told you to do, and actually taking calculated, tactful, I guess, moves to make an actual change mentally that carries into the physical world. So Caleb just said something about it too. And I just want to expand on that because that was the biggest thing for me. When you change your mind, it's not just a fantasy, I feel better, no, you change your mind and the chemicals that come out of your brain literally change. And I hope everyone heard that. It's not just no spiritual shit here. No, you repeat this shit. I challenge anybody that hears this shit. I dare you for a fucking week, just a week, dude. I dare you 3 times a day. Give me a list of 10, like we do in Bloomble. Get on our level. I challenge anybody to do that. And you tell me on that Sunday morning you don't feel different, dude. He's literally explaining that even to your DNA, you can reprogram your DNA at this point. It is not just a blind, oh, change your mindset and do. No, that's why the shit doesn't work. That's why when you hear all these inspirational people, the shit does not work. You can't just change your mind and think something's going to happen. This one really hit with me because he really broke it down like, nah, you have to have intention. You have to have some type of reason, and you have to be tactful, consistent, on point with the idea of I'm going to be a monster. I'm going to be whatever you want to be. You have to change the mindset and be tactful. It has to have a purpose. It has to have consistency. And to me, that's what I was hearing. You literally reprogramming your mind is way beyond you just saying, okay, today I want to be great. No, that's not how it works, bro. This was a really awesome reminder that you have to take the time. You have to really put that time in. And that's what I hope everybody heard. Times a day is even more than what we're projected to do. You know what I'm saying? Like that guy, like you see what I'm saying? Like that's a whole new level. So it's like, that's the importance, being so hype right now. You know what I'm saying? That really hit with me. That it hit hard for me.
Love it, bro. Love it, bro. Dude, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, bro. Never changing the confession. No matter what. Hey, I'm a billionaire every day. I'm a billionaire. There's nothing that can change it. I'm a billionaire. Bro, never changing the confession. And then, like Chris was saying, have an intention behind it. Like at the end of the day, guys, I honestly don't know how to articulate this, but if I could articulate it, I would say that going into gratitude, while it's so easy to do, it's also so easy not to do. And having that intention shows the universe that you actually mean business. You actually mean business. So let me expand upon that, right? Not doing your gratitude list 3 times a day tells the universe that that you're good, bro. You're good. And in fact, you are satisfied, dude. Everything that you have right now is all that you ever want, bro. That's what you're telling the universe. That's exactly how I feel about it when you're not practicing gratitude, when you're not doing these things that might be a minor inconvenience. Right now, they might seem like a minor inconvenience. Right now, that it might seem like, bro, that's rah-rah, that's bullshit, bro. Dude, you can do that, man. You can save that, bro. You got it, bro. You got it. Dude, it might seem stupid to do, but I promise you, dude, it's the shift that you need. It's that one little thing, bro. It's that one little thing, right? Like, I feel like a lot of us are in neutral right now, right? A lot of us are in neutral, and it's because we don't want to do that one little thing. That one little thing, being intentional behind our gratitude, being intentional about who we are, bro. You know that Muhammad Ali said he was the greatest before he started fighting, right? You know that Floyd Mayweather said, dude, I got so much money, man. There's nobody who can beat me, bro. Dude, you know that Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt, fucking Barack Obama, dude, all of these people, they projected what they were going to do and they kept on saying it. They kept on saying it. Donald Trump has been screaming out to the general public, I'm a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. Forbes, bro, fuck Forbes, bro. They don't know it. They don't know it. I'm a billionaire. What do we see Trump as now, bro? He's a billionaire, bro. The confession. Let's not change the confession, right? Thank you for sharing, bro. That was amazing. Tony Anderson, bro, how you doing? You having a good night?
Yeah, man, I'm doing wonderful. I'm pumped up, man. You guys got me pumped up. Yeah. So really much like Chris, I just love how in depth he went about the breakdown. Really, when it said there's a biological match between your inner world and your outer world, or your past, present life. And so I loved how he just talked. Well, first of all, it's similar to, I can't remember if it was Joe Dispenza or someone else, but we heard the story of somebody, people working in a factory, one of them having end up, getting cancer, and one of them not, just because of their thought power. So he really broke it down, especially showing graphs of, where people are, their cortisol levels, when they stay in elevated states, that their cortisol levels are raised much higher, much higher than other people who stay in low stress states, and other examples of when he was talking about people who, they put casts on, and the people who are focusing on, still flexing their muscles and getting stronger with the cast on, those people were, 10% stronger than the other people who weren't doing it at all. And so I think that just, that alone just reiterates the power of the mind, and how just your thoughts influence so much outside of you. And it's powerful.
It's so powerful, bro. It is so powerful, bro. I think this book is going to be the catalyst of change in a lot of our lives, bro, because like Will was asking for, I think it was 2 weeks ago, he was asking for quantification. He was asking for the answers. He was asking for the mathematics. He was asking for the science. This is the science. This is the answer. This is the answer that we've all been looking for. And when we get through this book, we'll have no excuse, because we'll know that we control our destiny. We control our life. And it starts with our internal dialogue, our confessions, and what we're saying out loud every single day. But thank you for sharing, Tony Anderson. Kelly, you want to share anything?
Yeah. Okay. I guess like bouncing off of what Tony said, like what does it truly mean to create an inward experience is kind of what I took away from this lesson. And to nerd out onto what he was saying, he mentioned this chemical called the IgA chemical, and it's a primary protein that's responsible for our healthy immune systems and our internal defense systems. So when we're talking about utilizing these tips and this tangible tool that he gave us is practicing gratitude, or getting into that inward experience at least 2 to 3 times a day, it's putting a more like scientific reason behind it. Like, why are we doing this? What some people may consider like woo woo, you know, okay, whatever, I'll do my gratitude. But it's putting it more into a reason of why mental health is so important for us. Getting this moment of joy, love, inspiration, gratitude, just for 5 to 10 minutes a day can produce a significant change in our bodies because of this IgA chemical. And within those minutes of just gratitude, you're taking a moment for your health as well. And so that's what I really took away from it, is we're getting so much more than we realize out of doing these little practices.
Deep. Absolutely. Appreciate you for sharing. I want to give everybody a chance to share before 10 o'clock, but thank you for sharing. Josh Ruber.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? All right, so to get into it, one thing that really stuck with me was creating a habit of behaving by a habit. So that one like really stuck out to me because we are our thoughts, you know, and when we think about our thoughts all day, they become actions. And those actions become, you know, recycled throughout every single day, throughout weeks, months, because we're so used to it. And we kind of just settle with what happens, you know what I mean, to go on because we're good at it. Therefore, we're familiar and don't want to change it, you know, because everybody likes to feel good or be comfortable, basically. So when we rehearse these thoughts, you know, repeat them and all of that, it becomes us. So we become labeled as these actions, what we do, these impressions, you know, everything about it. So it's crazy to me about like how we can just literally just start like rewiring and repair into like a new positive way where if we can just switch it up, you know what I mean? If we continue to switch it up, we might not only get used to that one thing that we switched it up to, but we might get used to just switching up in general because we just realized, hey, I just switched that up. And yeah, I mean, it kind of sucked a little bit in the beginning, but it's not so bad now. If anything, it's better because I'm able to do this, this, and that. You know what I mean? Or I'm able to be better at this, this, and that because of that reason. So it's just really cool how, you know, we replace things, we start things, and, you know, just basically train the mind in a way to just be better at everything, even the things that nobody wants to be good at, you know? It's just crazy how infinite we really are. And I love that.
Totally agree, dude. Totally agree. And it's the foundation. It's the foundation of moving from one place to the next. It's the idea of going up a staircase, right? You go from one stair to the next stair, but you can't go from stair 1 to stair 5. It's very difficult and you might fall on your face. So the best practice is to go from one stair to the next stair to the next stair, developing strength to keep on going up. But yeah, dude, I appreciate you for sharing. I want to make sure that everybody could share. Will Cameron.
What's up, fam?
How you doing?
Man. So, my focus was definitely, I think the takeaway was on the IgA marker thing. The fact that you can influence different proteins to affect your immune system is absolutely bonkers. So to take it in a different direction, the other next biggest part that resonated with me was the focus you have on your daily life. You know, having daily lives, you know, all of us being in Bloomble, we've got a fairly routine schedule, you know, on your way to work, what you have to do in your and, you know, outside of Bloomble as well, just as a human being existing on this planet, you focus on your busy life, you focus on your schedule, what you have to do, what you've gotten done. You know, your health, you know, how is that friend I haven't reached out to in a while doing, you know what I mean? There's all these thoughts and pathways that we are habitually going into every single day because it's a routine. And I think the most powerful thing I realized was that action and that mental focus on that same old routine, those same old thoughts, that same old hopping in the shower, getting coffee, driving to work, et cetera, that drives energy away from your external world, from your internal world to your external world. And it's super ironic that that energy flowing into your internal world is actually what manifests your external results. So you're doing yourself a huge disservice by not living in the wish fulfilled. So to really put a cap on it, live in the wish fulfilled.
Yeah. Live in peace, live in fulfillment, live in wholeness. Will said it best, bro. Appreciate you. Kyle Powell.
What up? What up?
What up? What up?
Yeah, I mean, this guy at this point is just talking to me. I feel like he's just been over my shoulder my whole life, to be honest.
Good.
No, but there was I really love what Chris said when he was talking about what he learned, and he mentioned the word intention. Everything has a great plan until you have until you put the right intentions, or until you put the foot forward or whatnot, until you can actually see how it's going to play out, what the other side is going to look like, because you can imagine everything that's going to be everything's going to go right, or everything is going to be prepared in your head, or is like Dr. Joe said at the beginning, for mentally preparing rather than actually preparing it, or actually going into and practicing itself, seeing that if you can just envision yourself playing it before you actually go, or playing the piano like he said, before going into actual training or whatnot, it'll prepare you and put you in a much better spot than the people who just went into it cold turkey. And so it's just the fact of like, whatever you're thinking about that is unknown, or that you don't know, so that is unknown. You just need to head forward into it and just put your best foot forward and put your best effort into it.
Yep, dude. And what I derived from what Kyle said is definitely do not be too cool for school, bro. I mean, that's every single one of us on this call, right? We do not need to be too cool for school. And so what do I mean by too cool for school? It sounds rah-rah to practice it in your mind, but you're not just practicing it in your mind for the sake of practicing it in your mind. You're practicing it in your mind in search of the feeling. In search of the feeling that you're trying to get from that specific material item, or from giving your mom $100,000, or from donating to this specific charity, right? Giving to all these people, empowering everybody, right? It's that specific feeling that you're trying to achieve from it. When you're playing out that mental game, you need to be in search of the feeling. You need to feel what it actually feels like. Feel whole, feel love, feel wealth, feel abundance, feel overflow. And out of those feelings derives everything that we've ever wanted out of life. And you know something even greater than that? Nothing that we don't want can vibrate at that same exact frequency, because we're vibrating in a specific tune, right? So we can only attract the things that are in vibration with that tune. I just don't want that to go over anybody's head, okay? Dude, we need to not be too cool for school. We need to be practicing it out in our mind daily, every single day. They said 3 times for 9 to 12 minutes a day. Dude, let's do a 10x rule, bro. Let's try and do 30 times. I watched Holton Buggs. He's one of the top earners in his industry, and he says that he was confessing what he has today 3,000 or 4,000 times a day. That's a different level of confession. That's a confession in which you're foundationally already there. Can you imagine saying what you want out of life 3,000 times a day? It gets to be an entirely different world. It's a total shift. But I appreciate you, Kyle Powell, for sharing. And last but certainly not least, we'll go Alan Scott, man. Hey, we appreciate having you
here. Everybody, how you guys doing?
There he is. Let's go.
All right. So what I really took away from this was the fact that how he said stress can literally cure some of these diseases people die from, or all these other things. It can literally cure you, because I always kind of knew that. I can't explain how, but for example, when COVID first came around, my mom, she's a big stressor. She has a brain injury, which is caused from stress. So she stresses a lot. She's always like that. So when COVID came around, she ended up catching it. And she felt like she was so sick. She kept saying, I'm so weak. What if I die? And I kept saying, Mom, you're okay. You're okay. You just need to not stress. You're fine. I promise. I was like, stress is hurting you more than the actual disease. And I didn't have any backup on that. I didn't have any scientific knowledge. I just knew. I just somehow knew, because I used to kind of have panic attacks when I was younger. And the last time I had one was probably 17 years old. And that last one, I just realized, I was like, all me. Like everything is me. You know what I mean? I control all of this. That's when I really realized. But I never had people around me who would hear me, who would understand what I'm saying. My mom's always like, "What are you watching? Like, what are the things you're watching?" And like this, that. But it wasn't even me watching videos. It was kind of just things I subconsciously like knew. I already knew these things. And me just getting around you guys, people who can understand me, people who are going to hear that out. I'm not crazy with you guys. You know what I mean? Some people think this stuff is crazy. It's real life. We control it all, but you can't tell everybody that. So I just took from this book, like, I'm in the right place at the right time. This is where I'm supposed to be. And we're going to do something great with this.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Hey, mic drop, dude. I love that because my mom is the exact same way, bro. It's as if she's addicted to the drama because the only
That's
thing
literally how my mom is. That's what I say. I'm like, Mom, you like, I'll be doing so many good things, and she'll be like, "Oh, what about this though?" And I'm like, Mom, you can't do that. You literally looked for that. You searched for that and you found that, and now you're trying to bring it to the table. Like that is not something you should be stressing about.
Absolutely. It's like what Jordan Belfort was showing us, right? When he had us close our eyes and he said, "Look for blue, look for blue, look for blue." And when we were closed, we were like trying to think for all of the blue. And then he said, "Open up your eyes, look for red." And so we were looking for red. We got to the chair. The chair was actually pink, but it was close to red. So what do? We delete, distort, and generalize. And when we delete, distort, and generalize, we're creating something that might not even actually be there just because we want it to be there, right? So it's so interesting, all of the things that we're learning from all of these mentors. But how awesome is it that now we have, like Will was asking for, quantification to be able to explain it to your mom, to be able to explain it to my mom, to be able to explain it to our
I'm literally
friends.
gonna go show this to my mom tonight because I still stress this to her all the time. I'm like, Mom, it's all you. You're the one stressing you out. And then she's like, "Oh, you're disrespecting me." Like, what are you trying to say? And I'm like, "No, Mom, I'm trying to help you because I can see it, Mom, and like I'm your son. That's why." So like this is like actually like this. I needed this.
Total game changer, man. Hey, that's why I personally texted damn near everybody in this thing right now, bro. I texted each and every one of you guys saying, "Hey, you gotta get on the call, no matter what's going on. Hey, man, dude, disregard all the other shit. Get on this call and let's learn from Dr. Joe Dispenza, bro, because he is so impactful. And everything that we learn, we can take away right away and use. We can apply all of the knowledge that we're acquiring." And it's just so awesome. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I want to open up the floor. Is there anything that anybody wants to say before we go our separate ways?